All right, we're about to get started. Oh, get excited. I'm excited. This is gonna be crazy. Let's see, I need over here. There you go. Quit. Right. All right, I'm almost there. Now, there's only one button I wish would work, and it just don't want to. Oh, look at this. What is happening here? Okay. Okay. Close that. And let's see. Welcome to the show, everybody. What a crazy morning. Hold on. I have so many screens running. It's a little stupid right now. There we go. All right. I am so overtaxing my system right now. I am so excited. Rob Glenn would be so very proud, and I hope you are. Chat room, welcome to the show. Hi, hello, good to see you. Welcome. So much craziness going on. Okay, we are up on Insta, and we are live on Substack. All is well, and the chat room is here. What's happening, chat room? Good to see you guys. Now, I'm about to do something, and this is going to get you all very excited, and then probably very mad at me. I'm about to do this, so prepare yourself. Brace yourself. Brace yourself. But this is a test. This is only a test. Hey, how you guys doing? Goddamn, it's been a long time. Let me see you. How you doing? Good. Who said that? Hey, Doc Spano, what's it going on, man? I got to tell y'all, I was flat ate up with the dumbass, and I was out there lost and around, and you know, I just have no excuse except well, I have a litany of excuses. Let's be honest with you. I've been gone too long to tell you a story, man. And let me tell you something. Let me give a big old hat tip over to that Sparks feller. He been trying his righteous little ass off to find anything but the dumbest workaround you ever did see in your whole damn life. I tell you, this sumbitch has been the tinkering and the fussing and the fiddling he's been busier than a woodpecker's neck. Let me tell you what. And so he's hopefully gonna make this a little better. It ain't perfect yet, obviously. There's some issues that we gonna have to work out at some point. Escape from rehab. Get out here, man. I only go to rehab if I've forgotten how to do substances. Honest to God, I was a little ashamed that I voted for Trump again. Let me tell you, every time I'm about to do the right thing, I get my hand on some moonshine whiskey, and I wake up in a voting booth going, what have you done? Okay? And so I'm in the same situation here, man. The only upside to this is that hopefully one day They're going to reopen the coal mine near me so my lungs can be as black as my gums. That is the goal, you crazy some bitches. So, anyways, we're going to be able to make a little appearance here and there. We're going to have to work on it, make it a little smoother and tighter, and we're going to have to polish this turd a little bit, man. And I don't know what all this, like, modern backgroundy shit is. This is all crazy. I feel like I've been zoom zapped into the future, man. I was like, swigoo, man. I'm, so one minute you're hanging out in the holler, you got a jug, a pipe jug sitting over on your shoulder, taking pulls of your favorite, tater alcohol, and next thing you know, I'm in some sort of Hunger Games Amazon future nightmare. Hey, look, I ain't got nothing against Amazon. Don't get me wrong. I love it how they manage to get that box out to my yard. And if they don't, I just go to my neighbor, grab some of theirs. There's always some fun stuff in there. Sometimes it even fits. Okay? If it don't, I take it down. I put it in the thrift store, and they come down there and they go, shit, I ordered this from Amazon. It never showed up. I'll just go ahead and rebuy it. And then the money goes to charity. It's a plan. I ain't proud of it. Yeah, you may not be thrilled about it. Y'all got questions. Tighter is always good. Well, not when you're trying to escape in a hurry and you hear the keys in the locker or shutting car door. Sometimes looser can do you a favor, if you know what I'm saying. Get you out of there quick. Like some grease through a 10-year-old goose. Off they go, man. Hi, what's happening? Who's Charity? She works down there at the Pump and Gristle. That's a combination general store and gentleman's club and geriatric center. It was owned by these three brothers, right? And Gary Glenn and Jeff, who spelled it with a G, which is why he was driven out of town. And so it's just GGG. So they didn't have money to take the sign down. So they just went, well, what can we put in here that makes those G's make sense? So it was G-Strings, grocery store, and geriatrics. And so that made a lot of sense to me. Hey, it says I'm up there. Hal ain't on YouTube right now. I am. Okay? I got to restart this page, make sure stuff's going on. Did I get dumped off there? Did they kick me to the curb, man? What in the ever-loving? It looks like I'm up there. It looks like we're all right. Are we okay over there on YouTube? I don't see no YouTube people in the chat room. That's weird, man. But it says it's up there. Hold on. Let me try. It's public. It's should we put it? What should we put it under? I think we got to put it under comedy because this ain't serious. That's okay. Update that shit. Save it. See what happens. It says I got some offline for a second, and we're all back. This is all confusing. I forgot how to run all this shit. There we go. It popped back up. Took it a second. Is YouTube in there, you YouTube people? Or is he just not showing up in the chat? Is that what's happening? God damn. The real format, yeah. Yeah, Hal ain't on YouTube. Fecus is. This is a takeover, man. We're good, CSL, because I don't see the chat. Look at the chat room, man. There ain't no YouTube icons in there. Do you notice that? They something funky. We just ain't seeing that. I'm gonna have to pry open that YouTube chat and see what's what. Like, I'm gonna have to do like we say in the holler, pop out the chat. Ball doggy. Come on now. We're going to pop out the chat, baby. Hey, honey, what we doing tonight? You and I going to pop out the chat. Ouch. Yeah, come on. All right, I'm on over that live thing. There's something up there. Is it one of them things where, okay. That says, yep, it says we're live. It says there's something in there. Shit. I see all you folks. Oh, looky there. We got super chats flying in, all kinds of crazy shit. I don't want you to not think I didn't see you, because it just wasn't showing up. Well, goddamn. I'm gonna, oh, yeah, I'm gonna, here, I'll try to see if we can, fuck, man. Is that, there you go. There's them people. Hi. There's YouTube. YouTube's up there and all right. You just got, it ain't showing up in that there restream chat. They got a problem over there. Hey, maybe, you know what? Maybe we can only have one glass of wonderful every day. You can't just, you know, count on everything. You know what I mean? You can't just fix everything. Fecus rocks. Thanks, Rob, you crazy son of a bitch. What's happening? Everybody, we missed you. I missed you too. Now, that chat moves fast, man. And at my reading level, I'm about to get a migraine. Let's be serious here. Hey, that Philip Ittner fella is going to be on in the second hour, so I won't be visiting much. But I just figured we'd get this out of our system right out of the gate and let you guys know. And like I said, we're going to have to tweak. We're going to have to tweak it a little bit over here. If you guys like me being back, maybe you can do what Kimberly is doing and super chatted over here and that kind of thing. Oh, Cheryl says check Venmo. Did they send checks through Venmo? I don't even know how any of that shit works. Do you? That's some crazy shit. Is there a... Fuck, man. I don't even know how... I can't... I'll have to ask Hal to check Venmo in a minute. We tweaking. Okay. Too much Cracker Barrel. Never enough Cracker Barrel. Hey, man, I've been eating nonstop at Honky Bucket. You forget about it and call me later. Honky Bucket's my favorite, man. It's like a Hooters and with a moonshine still. And then they bring a bucket to your table. And at Cracker Barrel used to be filled with crackers, a little thing. You eat crackers out of the little barrel they'd give you, and that's where it got its name. But Honky Bucket, they just give you a bucket to honk into. So if you and they got everything you're gonna need to like fill yourself up with something to puke. Because I got to tell you, whiskey in, whiskey out is no way to go. That's just undignified. Okay, what you're gonna want to do if you ever get moonshine liquor down your throat, or you're throwing down some gins and tonics if you're being all fancy shit, or a fuzzy navel, or one of them fruity flaming girl drinks that tastes, quite frankly, too delicious. If you're throwing one of them down your throat or whatever, you don't want them to come right back up, because your tongue is going, been there, done that. You know what I mean? You drink down that whiskey, puke it right back up. What's the point in that? So what you want to do, you want to stuff yourself with some greasy food, man. Some greasy rolls, maybe some nachos, something just nasty. But they're questionably delicious is what I call it. And you're going to shove a bunch of that down your gullet and drink that with your liquor. And then if you vomit, the new flavor that comes up is one that no human being has probably ever experienced except you. So it makes you special. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I played one behind the outhouse. And when I was a young man of questionable morals, all right? And so that's just my piece of advice to you. That's just a little love from your Uncle Fecus, okay? Oh, Bridget, you being all nice. Look at that. Bridget handing out memberships and stuff. That's just wonderful. And we got somebody from England or Europe over there. Somebody in Europe giving money out. That's just crazy. What in the world? Look at these wonderful people. Hold on. I think there it is. You switch it on to this. Peter says, welcome back. Bridget says, hello, Fecus. Long time since we have seen you. Hey, but I've seen you. I've been watching you. You ever been in your living room? Hi, Fecus, baby. Thank you, Pam. Let's go. I ain't got time right now. I left work to come here. That's what she said. Monica and Jules, oh, poo picker upper. Come on. Nola, I'll pass that along to him, okay? Rehab is for quitters. Let me tell you what. Mom's Russo, how you doing? 56 Niggerich, oh, Luis, bless your heart, you lovely people. So, yeah, all for the moonshine fun. Simmer down over there. Believe me, all I need is a bowl of cornflakes, some sugar, and a toilet bowl in a relatively clean jail cell, and I can make my own. Thank you very much. I think of it as manna from the Lord, okay? So, I appreciate it. That's not top. We just want to see it live. Ain't no hierarchy here in this stuff. Look at that, Lisa Me and more handing out that thaw. Thank you so much. Arizona fall. Muchacho. Machicho. What happened? Oh, damn. Something went down. Something went down. We got to... that scared me for a second. I told you we going to have to work on this. It ain't quite perfect. Oh, did y'all feel that? I was like suddenly surrounded by darkness. It reminded me of a time, actually, that I had tried to smoke some poison ivy. And it's a long story or whatever. It was when Joe Rogan invited me onto his podcast, and we never actually taped the episode. Do y'all know that? I was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and by the time we was done, he was having to hire a very, very powerful lawyer, and they were thinking of changing the name to the Fecus Experience because they weren't sure he was coming back, okay? And, yeah. You goddamn right I'll do it live. Oh, thank you, Randall. Here I am. Oh, shit. I didn't realize I was going to be on this long. Damn. Let the boy get back to his show. And more honky bucket. You gobble them down and the plate comes back for honky bucket. And then they shove a bucket over and blah! I wish, hey man, I don't need Rogan's money. It ain't doing him no good. Let me tell you what, will Fecus endorse House Sparks? I will not. I will be campaigning for whoever he is running against. I will run against whatever third party candidate. I will run for them. So if Jill Stein or one of them's coming out there, because let me tell you something. With my head injury, I would be an invaluable member of any independent presidential candidate's team in helping them to water down the vote so we can get stuck in this chaos over and over and over again. I'm fucking with you. Of course I'm going to endorse him. I don't know if y'all know this, but we used to be very close. Hal and hello, my name's Fecus, if you're new here. Hal and I were very close. As a matter of fact, we were conjoined twins. That's right. And, yeah. And I won't tell you where we were conjoined by, but let's just say we didn't have to split anything when we broke up. You know what I mean? We both got extra. Sorry, I had to count for a second in my head, but that's true. So we was separated at birth by a very lovely team of scientists. They had to fly us over to India in an aircraft carrier. There was a couple of us. There were about 4 of us. We all came out like those monkeys in a bucket. Hal got the brains and Fecus got the looks. You know it, son. Hey, man, in this day and age, what do you think's more valuable? Fuck, brains? Get out of here. These are the days to be able to skate on your looks, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, and I think that I can. All right? But yeah, so you damn straight I'm camera ready. They have that like this filter that you can put on that makes your teeth look whiter. No, thank you. I like both of them exactly tooth colored. Okay? So I can. Who said that? I can fake smart, but you can't fake handsome. How you doing? Well, I guess there's makeup and stuff. Thank you, Christine. We doing? Hey, Fecus is my stepbrother in Florida. Oh, well, look, Ed. I was only in that foster home for like 3 goddamn weeks. I'm not saying you and I aren't close and we didn't share a minor infraction or two. But for God's sake, man, let me tell you what. Huge. You were connected by the butt. No, you're wrong again. Now, let me just explain it the best. I have memorized every line in his face. Okay? So, I could draw it from memory. That's how close we were. Looking forward to seeing you Friday night. Hey, Carl. Man, if I can make it, dude, I'm going to be there like Michael fucking McDonald, okay? Yeah, I'm going to be there. You know it. This is good. This is, will we have Cupcake cameo? I don't know where... We got to talk about that dude, because he's, like, he hangs around here sometimes, and he's fucking angry. God damn, that dude. He, you know what I mean? He's got, like, look, like, half the time, I'm like, dude, get the fuck over yourself. So, I don't know. We go, all right, let me call it a day, and I'll see you guys later on, and I want to thank y'all for the warm welcome, and I will do my best to make a regular appearance on here and try to tighten this shit up, okay? All right. Okay. Do I eat nachos? Shit, stop me from eating a plate afterwards. Do I eat nachos? My body composition is probably 32.9% nachos at this point, okay? And if I could keep them down all the time, it'd be even more. So, okay, I'll see you guys later. You take care. Hey, it worked. Look at that. Hi, I'm back. He looks like a German. Wait, you think he looks like a German? I don't think so. Thank you guys so much. And you can hear, if you listen, I don't know if you can hear it. Hear that, like, kind of crackling in the background? That's the PC I'm having to run the character stuff off of. And it's very noisy. So it's going to take some tinkering so it doesn't set my fucking studio on fire. And I'm trying not to eat, like, I may have to switch which computer I do this on because of the video pull is fucking crazy. It's crazy. That said, let's just work. Work on it. It looks like a mushroom. That's funny. Hemorrhoid. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad. Poop picker upper. I'm so happy. I'm glad. Believe me, I've been trying to find a way to move it over to this computer and work on it. I just fucking can't. So I just had to, like, run this. It looks, the irony is, it looks like a still, what I'm running to make that happen. In this, like, 2-computer setup. Which, by the way, I gotta, like, every so often, I have a mouse over here, and I have to remember if I'm going to use it to, like, shake the mouse to wake the computer up, and then reset some stuff, and stuff, so it won't, I just wanted it to be more spontaneous. Studio? Basement, right? Well, all right, smarty pants. Warehouse? Studio? Maybe a warehouse, right? Okay. Thank you, Donna. I don't need to take this shit from people. I try my hardest. Every day I'm tinkering. Roseanne is selling her Hawaii place for $1.9 million for 46 acres. That's kind of cheap. I mean, I can't afford it, but... Mad, thank you. Mad Mac, thank you. But hey, if we want to start up again with the 666 super chats, maybe we can eventually buy this fucking thing. And I'm going to start doing, like, shorts as Fecus and putting them on the channel, like, separate from the regular broadcast, so that I can, like, maybe that'll draw stuff too. So, anyways. Ethyl alcohol cold computer. It is, well, practically. It's water cooled. It definitely is. Some watery tart. Distributing swords. There's no system for. There's no basis for a system of government. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Make a GoFundMe. That's not a bad idea. But if I was going to do that, I wouldn't buy her place. All the fuck, like, it would just stink of weed and her son. Way longer than 3 months. Pam, I know. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, here, I'll go back to, well, I don't want to go back. Here's the regular chat. We'll see you guys. And I, honest to God, I don't know why the, we don't have the YouTube one on there regular, but I'll figure that out and we'll solve it. And maybe it's just I happen to think it's probably just a, what's the word? Kerfuffle. It's a gremlin. And since today we were able to bring back these things, I think we're okay. You know, considering the options, yeah, pretty ridiculous. So, let's see, let's start in on our sort of news for the day, which is that all around I guess one of the big stories is, let's just address this real quick. This young man, hold on, let me turn this into the reader, thank you. So this dude, Joe Rogan. Okay, so Rogan had Dave Smith on, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a riveting episode. There's nothing I like better than watching two grown men realize they've been fucking stupid and possibly still are. Oh, Pam, thanks. What's the t-shirt? Oh, it's a movie. The Nice Guys Agency. It's the Nice Guys is a great movie. Period. End of story. It's so goddamn good. Anyways, Joe Rogan and Dave Smith, he brought him on, and they were both like, I don't know. I'm starting to think Trump is full of shit, right? And it's just so infuriating when you're watching this stuff. And and at one point, there's this clip kind of that went viral of Joe Rogan going, what did they think, we're babies? What did they think, we're babies? Like, no. They think you're morons, and they're right. Look, I know he was looking for a better phrase. He was probably looking for, do they think we were born yesterday? Or do they think we're toddlers or stupid or children or they have to come? Anyways, the two of these motherfuckers going, what? I mean, he said this and he's doing this. What the hell's going on? It's like my world's been turned upside down. And it's like, maybe, just maybe, take a fucking week off. You're a multi-millionaire. Your kids will never spend the money you've made. Take a week off. Stop smoking weed. Stop taking mushrooms and sit with yourself. Don't just fucking think. Stop interrupting your natural thoughts with chemicals or other bullshitters you know. For fuck's sake, man. And here's the thing. As upset as these dickheads are getting about the fact that they were sold a bill of goods by a guy who has spent his entire life making a career out of selling people a bill of goods, fuck me. When the next big social thing that affects their vision of their own manhood around trans people or something, or some bullshit we shouldn't be paying taxes nonsense comes floating through their, some asshole guest he has on, it'll all go, it'll hit the reset button and he'll go, well, at least he's macho and funny. Sarpasek says the bro that killed comedy. Yeah, there's a general kind of note going around the comedy world that this mothership bullshit that he started in Austin, trying to start his own comedy scene and kind of birth certain kinds of comics, just cranked out, and by their, even judging him, it was with Tony, his cock, whatever his name is, the Heathcliff, whatever. He and that dude, by judging people as they come through, like people doing 5 minutes and then they judge their act, it becomes a rite of passage and into the actual scene. It's not just they come and roast you, and if you can survive it, you can go do whatever you think. But it's like you have to be what they like in terms of comedy or appreciate, which is usually just like embarrassment humor or bigotry or a mix of the two. Embarrassment being the lazy side. By the way, Christian comics love them some embarrassment humor. That's why you can't joke about sex because sex is icky, but they joke about fucking shit all the time. Like there's no such thing as like a Christian stand-up comic, and I mean a legit one, not a clean comic or whatever, even though they're the same, that doesn't have a like anchor their fucking show talking about pooping. It's so fucking lame. And you're like, why is that natural process fine to make jokes about, but sex, which is also a natural process, and we wouldn't be here but without it, and God obviously created it and made it really fucking interesting. Why isn't that funny? It's just odd to me. Hold on, let's see if this is, yeah. That Rogan seems to think that that what Trump is doing is new. Hey, Jamie, pull up that video of Trump saying one thing, and then bring up the executive order where he's doing the exact opposite. Yeah, I just want to put them side by side so my head can fucking explode. Jamie, can you pull up that part where I bought a bunch of line of bullshit that everybody knew was bullshit, hook, line, and sinker? Jamie, put that up on the screen that nobody on the podcast can see, but the guests can see, which makes no fucking sense at all. Pretty close. But apparently, the story is this, the 2020 election being stolen. They're not buying that it was stolen. Because it fucking wasn't. And imagine this. Here's the thing. This is the fucked up part. I mean, one of the many, whatever. Obviously, we don't need to start like a poll on what's more fucked up about this stupid goddamn conversation between these self-involved idiots who just like took turns shoving their heads up each other's asses and pulling them out and going, the sun's out. Like, anyways, the idea that like the 2020 election was stolen and they're just now like that this is bold and brave of them, that it's a fucking story on the news, right? Oh my God, Joe Rogan is called bullshit on Trump's lies about the 2020 election. Oh man, where did he ever get the fucking $100 million worth of strength? Just the whole fucking thing. It's just goddamn lazy. Jamie, put up the video. Put up the video I hallucinated where Joe Biden said something that was really stupid, but it turns out it was actually Trump. Jamie, bring up that tweet where Joe Biden thought we had airports during the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. Remember that? Remember, that's like crazy. The guy's crazy. And you're like, dude, he's so fucking old. And I'm like, crazy. And then, yeah, play the video. That's not Biden. Oh, Trump said it. Got me again. You know, you can't trust anything anymore. Or I might be stupid. The aggravating part of like his discoveries about bullshit is that it's there has never been a better example than Joe Rogan in terms of a little learning is a dangerous thing. I mean, you could argue that that's the root of QAnon. It's the root of most conspiracy theories, is you find out just enough stuff to make something sound like a conspiracy, like there's a big interwork. Same thing with Dave Smith. There's some obviously. I mean, come on. We all know. behind the scenes. They're fucking, they get to that point anytime they reach a detail that cuts against their bullshit, right? Anytime they reach a detail that calls their bluff or points out that they're full of shit, they're like, yeah, but I mean, some cases, yeah, but bro, there are fucking eyes wide shut parties running the whole fucking world. The bankers, even the ones competing against each other for market share like any other business, get together, at the Bohemian, G7 Bilderberg clubhouse, and they all smoke cigars like we do and talk about, how they control the media like we say we do. The fuck out of here. How come, I think I've seen maybe, besides me, maybe 3 people that sit across from Rogan that actively contradict him in all these fucking shows. Like, how many episodes? 4,000 or some dumb shit? Right? And all of that. Like, somebody just needs to, sit down with a list and go, okay, dude, let's go through these. Because you obviously were smoking when you read this, or you just don't give a fuck. Because this kind of, snatch and grab detail aspect of social media is fucked up. Where you saw something scrolling, you didn't get all the information. I dealt with this with our side of the aisle multiple times, and I caught shit from the audience, but I stood my ground because people would see a video of what they thought was police brutality but wasn't actually, or some story that was just automatically gaining ground, and I was like, folks, you're being led around by the nose. Watch the 20 minutes before that shit happened, before you start judging the people involved. Because you're not just judging the people involved, which in and of itself is the mistake. The mistake you're making is that you're judging everybody in uniform, or on the right wing, they judge all black people, right? Because they don't watch the context of what was going on, right? Republicans won't watch a video where somebody was complying and they get beaten, and they'll just go, this is bullshit. He was probably doing something, right? He probably had it coming. And you could go watch the part and go, no, he fucking well didn't. And then our side will watch a video and go, oh my God, how dare they do this? So they break this woman's car window and drag her out of her car, when you don't realize that she fired her gun moments before out the window and it jammed and they saw it jam, so they went in to get her, that kind of stuff. But that part's cut off. Right? Context doesn't just matter to an argument. It matters because it is what's going on, and your breaking down of it is either is representative of your ethics, for one, and it's also representative of your ability to fucking read and interpret and see something for reality. And Rogan and Dave Smith have a huge case of almost read something. You know what I mean? They almost read this shit. I saw a thing the other day. If I gotta tell you, if I have some pet peeve phrases these days with social media, is when assholes like this say things like, I saw this thing the other day. No, man, I don't want to hear it. Did you read it? I got to give major credit to Bill Burr for calling Rogan out to his face, and Rogan gets, Burr gets away with it because that's his idiom. You know what you're getting when he comes on. But I gotta say, since he got really big, and since I would guess he was on there kind of throwing it back at him, throwing it back at Bill Maher, Mark Maron's doing a good job. He's been a rock solid podcaster for a very long time. I just don't like his nihilism, and I think it causes more harm than good. like any of this, like monetizing your shortcomings is always a bad idea, even if it's your moods and your self image, that kind of stuff. It can be very dangerous because you have to keep it up, and that's fucked up. I mean, it. You could argue that it's been eating Doug Stanhope alive for years. Yeah, Pirro was told to pound sand by the grand jury on the kid, on the people that she was trying to get on assault charges, right? Yeah, I mean, I think Mark Maron, again, this is one of those situations where, like, Maron's clearly a good human being. And he's found a niche in, he found a niche in the alt comedy world with Janine and Margaret Cho and all that crowd back in the day. And they built a style out of it, and it's very good. And if that's your thing, again, I don't have to like what you like to love that you love it. So, and comedy is so subjective that if it works for somebody, I won't, I will never interrupt that. If it makes you laugh, it's worth something. That said, everything has a secondary ethical message, if it does. If something has a secondary message, like slapstick humor or whatever, can or can't, may or may not have an actual message to it. But if you have if you clearly have a message, then you have to understand that with your message comes the personality traits that you assign to those things. And if you're a nihilist or you're, like painfully self-deprecating to the point of, like, I don't know, almost being depressive. If it's a character, it's one thing, but if it's real, it's one thing. Like, you have a responsibility. Just manage that in your own life. I know you want to be real, but so Richard Pryor was funny. Richard Pryor, holy shit. Okay, let me tell you something, folks. Richard Pryor has opened up the doors to comedy. I was a huge Carlin fan. I love Steve Martin's early stand-up. But it was listening to Richard Pryor's Black Ben the Blacksmith that allowed me to go, oh, you can blow this out into, like, stories and characters and voices. There are no rules about it. If it comes out of you and it's you and a microphone, it's stand-up. And if you've not heard Black Ben the Blacksmith, please listen to it. You'll find it on YouTube someplace or whatever. Just that bit. There's an album called that, but listen to the bit, the piece. It's like 7 minutes long. And it's so fucking funny. And it's so funny you forget at the end that he set up a punchline. Yeah, Robin too. That's a different thing altogether. Yeah, Robin, you could argue that he was doing one-man improv as opposed to stand-up, and then turned that one-man improv into stand-up, right? It's a different kind of way of looking at it. But Richard, I learned more about, like, comedy performance from Richard from his movies. Because, fuck, people, watch Stir Crazy. Him and Gene Wilder together, it's unfathomably good. It's so alive. It's so alive. Almost more than any of the other movies they did together. But there is so much heart in these guys at the same time they are being, the timing and the shit, like just the scene with Grossberger where they bring back, Gene Wilder is brought back to his cell after they've had him in solitary. They keep trying to torture him to make him do it. I won't ruin the movie. I'll keep it. But Grossberger is this multi-murderer, like the worst mass murderer in the South. Giant dude, and everybody's afraid of him. And they put him in a cell with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder because they think he'll kill him. Like, it'll scare him, and then they'll do this, whatever. And he comes back, like, they bring Gene Wilder back, and Grossberger is in the cell with Richard Pryor. And Richard Pryor is pinned against the bunk. and Grossberger is just leaning in on him, and they put in a sound effect of his ribs cracking because the guy is so big, and he's like, dude, okay, Grossberger, yeah, Grossberger, you're crushing me. Like, and Wilder comes in, and he's like, what are you? And he goes, don't come over, don't come over, don't come any closer. And it is just, and then Gene Wilder trying to help, and then he just eventually walks away from it and goes, I'm just gonna stand over here in the corner. I know the crack, the sound of the cracked ribs, and all, it's so good. It's so good. And that's all I'm gonna say. Yes, Carlin, no question, right? But I'm just talking about for me in performance. And I want to be clear about this. Steve Martin, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Godfrey Cambridge, Lenny Bruce, a young Eddie Murphy, all those people. All of them would be ripped to shreds by these dickheads at the mothership if they were early in their career. If you watch what they started doing, if they came in and did kind of the modern version of what they were doing at the time, it's why I hated Last Comic Standing. It's why I fucking can't stand The Voice and America's Got Talent and those kind of things, because Brian Bob Dylan obviously never would have made it. Even John Lennon. Think of all the people who are famous and great songwriters and all that kind of stuff who never would have made it past this everybody has to sound alike thing. And that's what they were creating. Oh my God, Martin Short. Holy shit. So chat room, yeah. Carlin was a bit hopeless at the end, I thought. I think he was he realized his own mortality at one point, and that'll get you crotchety. And plus, he had such a backup of material. He was trying to hammer it out. So thank you, CSL. Yeah, I see that. I think he's not back there yet, but I've got it up on this screen. Anyways, Jamie, can you bring up the screen where Philip Ittner will be with us? Jamie, bring up that video I watched about how it was actually Ukraine that invaded Russia using NATO expansion language. So they were firing phrases over the border, and they apparently landed on a school or an apartment building, or the fuck is in this weed? So everybody thinks I look like Shrek. Well, I mean, there you go. You ever see that scene in Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman, where the Joker covers himself in skin covered paint, and he's no longer pale white, right? Carlin never liked too much complaining. Look at his early stuff when he's a little bit loopier, and I'll tell you what the difference between early Carlin and late Carlin. 70s pot versus and probably downers like Ludes or something, and cocaine. Once he switched to cocaine, that's what comes out of you. Because at a certain point, I think if drugs take over and they write your jokes for you. Jim Carrey, it's an interesting thing, because I love Jim Carrey's slapstick and I love his wry sense of humor, and he had a very kind of Groucho Marx turn of phrase in what he did. There's a lot of Groucho Marx actually in the writing of Ace Ventura and those kind of things, and I love it. But this whole his self-actualization, self-realization bullshit he's been doing since Man in the Moon, I gotta say, it feels like a desperate search for relevance. And what makes me angry about it is that it's unnecessary. You'll get there. Don't be in such a fucking hurry. One day you won't be young and cute anymore, and you'll be able to be a serious actor. What are you not getting laid enough by women who like serious acting? Like, I don't get it. It's so stupid. But on top of that, it acts like comedy in that vein doesn't have real value. Because it fucking well does. The value of pulp, the value of jokes for joke's sake. Do you know how important that is to just this, like, people's souls and lives? So it feels like it's not even so much that he wants to do this other stuff and he's forcing it through, like Steve Martin doing Pennies from Heaven and being a dick for 6 years. I'm more offended by the fact that he somehow thinks that those movies, the silliness of them and the playfulness of them, is not worth anything. Loses its value. And I gotta say, I just feel like that's terrible. Because people need to laugh. And sometimes they need to laugh outside of what's going on. Because I think one of the things, there's a thing called cause marketing. I've talked about this before, which is when people do charity work just to get their name out there, to beat their chest and go, hey, I'm not saying look at me, but if I wasn't here, this wouldn't get done, right? And I don't really mind that because the charity still gets the money, right? The charity still benefits from it. So that's why you get away with it. But cause marketing is just like, I'm a serious person, take me seriously because of that work that I do. Even if you don't like my acting or my music or whatever, I'm doing this, so you should, right? You should appreciate who I am. Yeah? And the problem with living that way, the negative aspect of that is that it found its way into all modern art and commercial art. Right? Yes, the opposite of Keanu Reeves. And I think he's a great example of people who didn't take the bait. But there's this idea that there must be something socially relevant in this. And I mean, everybody remembers very special episodes of Facts of Life, or they were this close to having a very special episode of The $6 Million Man. Like, every episode of, Taxi. I fucking love Taxi. But they did, I want to say 12 or 15 episodes that were about, check Ecamm link is what I see. Yes, Ecamm is proper. Yes, I don't see him yet. So, but Ecamm is correct. Yes. I think at a certain point, if everything has a message, nothing has a message. If everything is so focused on being representative of something, then it is representative of nothing. And this goes into the whole, here it comes Phil. So we'll talk about this, put a pin in this, and we will talk about this at another time. Because in the background over here, my dear friend, hold on, I'm going to bring him in here. There we go. Can you hear me okay, Phil?
Yep, sure
Okay,
can.
great.
Hold on one
right.
second.
Okay, no worries.
There we go.
I will bring you into this guy, and give me a second. We've had a big conversation today about a bunch of fancy, and so it's kind of important that we. I don't want to overlap into. There it is. This one. Point you in here. There you go. Whoops. This guy. There you go. And then I gotta turn this one off. Okay, there we go. All right. So, are you ready? I'll bring you in, if I may.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philip Ittner joining us. Glad you're feeling better. I hope you are. I mean, maybe you're
Thank you. Yeah.
just bold
Still
and doing the show.
Yeah, more or less.
So I got into a big philosophical discussion at the beginning of this today's show because the major couldn't be on and we got to talk about a bunch of stuff, and one of them is this, and I think there's a lot of this that applies to what we're talking about with Ukraine, especially is watching Rogan and Dave Smith slowly wake up like they've been in a fucking coma and recognize that Trump has been full of shit this entire time, and anybody who paid any attention to it at all knows this. And it's like it's almost like you're torn between like, well, I'm glad you're coming around, but god damn, like you're almost insulting the rest of us by saying it was hard to figure this out.
Yeah. Well, and still no recognition of the fact that he's compromised by Putin.
Mm-hmm.
They'll look at Alaska and they'll kind of go, that's not great, or they'll
Mm-hmm.
they still like run the narrative of Ukraine is partially responsible for all this, and it's the West incursion and
Mm-hmm.
NATO expansion and all this stuff, all the Moscow narratives, but they won't recognize the fact that we have Trump because of Moscow. I mean,
Yes.
the 2016 election was compromised.
Yeah.
It was such a tight election that any one factor could have changed the balance completely, and Trump would be nothing but another kind of, tentpole preacher, shouting into the void about conspiracy theories and birth certificates. But because of Russia's interference, which is undeniable, that they at the very least swung the election due to that contribution, that percentage
Mm-hmm.
contribution. They still won't recognize that fact.
Right.
They still won't recognize the fact that that basically Trump and Putin are harmonizing. That
Yeah.
that Trump is a parrot for everything that Putin says, and why is that? And shouldn't we recognize that at the very least, by taking Putin's side and regurgitating the Kremlin lies, the man is compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's only his public, pronouncements and what he says, they're pulling the picture out that he did at a recent press conference where,
Mm-hmm.
well, I got this picture from the Kremlin, I'm going to
Oh
sign
my
it,
god.
all
Yeah.
this other stuff.
He likes me. He really
all of
likes
us.
me. It's like as a picture of fucking him meeting
Yeah.
Sean Cassidy at a car show in the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Churchill. Look at me. This is a picture of me and Goebbels. It's just, that should be sending alarms all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not. They're not. They're upset because of the Epstein thing. They're upset because of how obviously the administration is completely floundering, of the ICE raids, of the sending troops into cities, all of which are legitimate criticisms of the second administration. But we really need to drill down on the fact that the man is compromised. The man is literally compromised.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I was thinking about this recently because I had a conversation with a friend of mine who does she's the one down in Kherson, Zarina, my journalist friend Zarina Zabriskie.
Mm-hmm.
She's down in Kherson and she's doing reporting on the human safari. She's got a documentary out, and we were just having a chat recently. And she pointed out something to me that we've been discussing for quite some time, ever since we helped break the story on the Edge. Is that there's and I didn't know this, and this is her reporting and her contacts that are telling me this. So consider this is 1 or 2 degrees removed.
Right.
But apparently, she had a conversation in one of her investigative pieces which included talking to a psychologist who said that there is a condition that is kind of prevalent in human beings where the audaciousness of the information that you are being told is so fundamental and changes your perception of human nature or history or your life just your surroundings, your existence, that your brain rejects it. It's too much to take in at any one time. That's why when she reports on, people, Russian soldiers hunting down civilians in the
Right.
streets of Kherson and killing them with drones, she gets pushback because this is such a disgusting, obvious war crime
Right.
that people are like, but yeah, they'll hedge and they'll look for things. I think there's something. It is so disturbing for Americans to accept the fact that the commander in chief is compromised by
Yeah.
Vladimir
Owned.
Putin and
Right.
an enemy actor, owned by an enemy actor, that it's hard for people to digest it. And there are a multitude of other reasons, and other circumstances. I'm not saying this is her work, not mine. But I think that's true. I think there's a large percentage of the country that is unable to accept the reality that's right in front of them, because it is so disturbing to think that the president of the United States is doing the bidding of a foreign power, an enemy foreign power. So, we just have to keep hammering on it and talking about it. And he's not going to do himself any favors, because he's going to get worse and worse when it comes to Putin, especially as it gets worse and worse in terms of negotiations. I mean, I guess Witkoff or Kellogg, who recently, within the last 24, 36 hours, came out with a statement saying he thought there would be a peace negotiation by the end of the year. That's bull. I mean, unless something significant changes on the battlefield or internally within the Russian Federation, there's no way this war stops anytime before the end of this year, which is tragic and awful.
Also, punting it that far,
stop.
It's fucking, it's almost September, but it's still August. The idea that it's going to be by the end of this year, and watch them go, well, I meant the fiscal year, which is April, right, for our government's budgets and shit. Like, they could punt this, but think about this. This is something that he was supposed to fix in a phone call the day he got elected, not even before he was fucking sworn in. And then it was like, well, the first 100 days was MTG's cover for him. And then the first day he's going to make the phone call and they're just going to do this. And never mind the whole, like, this war wouldn't have started, which is obviously what he got out of the deal with Putin. Like, I'll give you a meeting, but you have to say that this wouldn't have happened if I was president. Well, then why don't they shut it down now that you are? That's just garbage. Like, it's silly. If it wouldn't have happened then why not? Because of what you'll do? Well, then do it. Make it end. Like, it's so odd that nobody puts that part of it together, to me, or whatever. But the fact that he's big on 2 weeks. He even said about manufacturing yesterday, like, you wait in 2 years. And you're like, oh, dude. Yeah, everybody just, if you're broke and waiting for a job and you can't put your kids through school, just wait. In 2 years, a job will show up that you can't get. Anyways, so this business, by the end of this year, is still such a fucking punt. It reeks of him tacoing these goddamn tariffs. It's just flicking it along, like, and that's where, interestingly enough, it seems like this punt may have come from the Kremlin, because Trump is fine with punting things, and he has been. That's what the 50 days was. That's over. He gave him 10 days. He shortened it. Then he shortened it. So, because, by the way, am I the only person who thinks that the reason he shortened the 50-day timeline wasn't to be tough, was because that's when Putin agreed to schedule the meeting. So they shortened it so that the meeting wouldn't come right on the deadline or would go right up against the end of the deadline. So like, oh, if I shorten it now to 50 days or whatever, the next day it ends and we can go, oh, okay, I'm here. I'm a little late, but I'm here. And that, it was just for fucking show. That date, it was like almost like they handed him that date. We can meet with you in August and just pretend to hate us till then, and then we'll all button this up, just like the phone call bullshit.
Yeah, well, and there's a couple other things to add to that, is the fact that Putin is never going to sit down with Zelensky.
No.
He's just not. It would be perceived internally within Russia as a major embarrassment. Zelensky is the narrative that they have been selling, and which the Russians have been gobbling up, is that Zelensky is a drugged out, illegitimate president who has overstayed his term limits, even not recognizing that we're under martial law and under Ukraine's constitution.
Right.
That's 100% legal. Not only is it 100% legal, but if to hold elections would be
Oh, it's why we wouldn't. It's why we didn't
foolish.
pop them into
We
fucking
had a
NATO
we
right
had a,
away because they
we
have
had
the
a
border dispute.
fantastic episode. We had right, absolutely. We had and also we had a fantastic episode of On the Edge last weekend, but unfortunately, something happened in the upload to YouTube where it was a corrupted file, and so I had to repost it. I had to take it down and repost it on Monday, so it is not nearly getting the traffic that I normally would have gotten. I think if I had stayed to my
Schedule,
normal
right.
publishing time, my normal schedule, in which we speak to a head of a think tank here, and she was a former fellow at the European Council of Foreign Relations, and in it we discussed the idea of holding an election. Firstly, what do you do? What do you do about the diaspora? What do you do about everybody who's spread all throughout the globe because of this war? What do you do about the guys on the front line? What do you do about opening polling stations, especially in cities like Zaporizhia or Dnipro or Kherson? Kherson, for God's sakes, opening a polling station in Kherson?
Right.
You might as well just be signing these people's death warrants.
Yeah.
And then finally, what about all the people who, according to Kiev, are held in occupation? What about the people in Mariupol, who, according to Kiev, is still a Ukrainian city?
Yeah.
How do they cast their ballots while they're occupied by Russian troops? The whole idea of an election is ridiculous. So that argument that Putin puts forward and Russia puts forward and gets picked up
Trump
by
puts
Russia's
forward.
useful idiots, and Trump puts forward, is a non-starter, and it's ridiculous.
Yep.
And also, just finally to this point is, and this is something that I weigh heavily on DC, but I also apply this to London and to Brussels. And again, this is a topic which we talked on in this week's episode. It's episode 61, folks. After we're done with the live stream here, help me out. Go and take a watch. It's actually well worth your time. It's a good episode. We talk on a lot of different topics.
Can we put that link in the chat, guys? That'd be great, Andrea. If you grab
that'd be very helpful.
We'll do that.
It'd be very helpful because I really want more people to see this episode, and it was just a cock up with uploading. Sure. But the final thing for why this whole idea of we're gonna make them come to the table, and we've talked about this, you and I, Hal, many times. There was something that happened in 2014 on Maidan Square, and I've been coming here for 25 years, so I've seen Ukraine prior to the Independence Square uprising, the Maidan, the Revolution of Dignity is what the Ukrainians call it. So I've seen them before that and after, and something happened in 2014. And it was like switching a light switch in the Ukrainian mentality. And that is this idea that we are not going to be a colony of anybody ever again. And that doesn't mean we're going to swap a colonial master in Moscow for a master in Brussels or London or Washington. Okay? I mean, they're just, it's in there. It's hardwired into their DNA now. We're independent. From now on in, we're independent. No matter, come what may, we are independent. We are sovereign, and we're going to do as we see fit. So the mentality of approaching the Ukrainians with the idea of, you must do this, we insist that you do this, will be counter-effective. It will only get their backs up. And I swear to God, I've spoken to so many Ukrainians about this since, in particular, Alaska, but also subsequently since then, is that they would rather put their money on Europe than submit to something that Washington delegates to them or insists upon them, because they don't trust Trump. They know that Trump is compromised. And in addition to that, Trump and his team are so ham-fisted, and they don't know what they're doing, that it's the exact wrong way to approach them by saying, you must accept this, you must meet with Putin.
Mm-hmm.
None of that is going to work. And the people of Ukraine will stand behind Zelensky. If Zelensky came out and gave a speech or made a statement saying, Washington has said we must do this or that or the other thing,
Right.
unless it genuinely is in the best interest of Ukraine and there's a
Yeah.
consensus on that. But I think that's less likely than what is going to happen.
Yep.
But if Zelensky were to come out and deliver a statement to the people of Ukraine and said, Washington would like us to give up this and give up that and give up that other thing, and in return they'll promise, in quotation marks,
Mm-hmm.
a peace. The Ukrainians are going to say no. The Ukrainians
Right.
they're going to stand behind Zelensky, and they're going to say, and I say this not with 100% uniformity. This is a democracy, and there are going to be lots of people with lots of different ideas, and there will
Right.
be a percentage who will say, just stop the killing. But
Mm-hmm.
I think any proposed peace deal that includes abdicating land in particular, or bending the knee to Moscow in some other way, giving up weapons, or promising not to make agreements with third-party nations, the Ukrainians are going to say, go fly a kite,
Yeah.
and they will stand by. As horrible as this is, they know,
Mm-hmm.
because they know their enemy. They know their
Mm-hmm.
enemy far better than anybody in the world, and they know that if they incentivize or if they give away something to Moscow, that Moscow can walk away saying we had a victory or we had success.
And we just next
I don't
time
think they'll
our
yeah.
only mistake was that we weren't as brutal enough. That's the lesson.
Yeah.
Think of Donald
That'll
Trump as kind of your Timu Putin in this regard, talking about the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War, not in terms of they were a mistake, we shouldn't have gone in the first place, and holding to that, but that we went in there, we were protecting someone else, and we should have kept the oil. The abject cruelty, never mind the illegality of it, but also just the un-American, I would argue, attitude that you were going to go and if we're going to protect you, we're going to steal your resources. Well, what the fuck do I need you for? That's what they're trying to do. If I'm trying to protect my resources from an invading army, and you're like, I'll protect you from that invading army if you give me your resources, what the fuck are you good for? That's the point. Ethically, morally, and strategically, it's stupid. But this is if he can come back with something so awful, as lame as he is, you think Putin or Lavrov or any of these other guys' second bite at the apple is gonna, or third or fifth or whatever, this is who's keeping score, but their next bite at the apple is going to be easier, they're going to step back and go, we should have killed more people, we should have kept the children, that was our fucking mistake.
Well, and again, I mean, their strategic goals, Moscow's strategic goals are to regain control of the north bank of the Black Sea, which means taking Odessa, and secondly, to one way or the other, change the government in Kiev to one that is more pro-Russian.
Right. We have a question.
Neither of which they can do in this current iteration. But if they can sue for peace and position themselves for another go in a few years' time or whatever, and it's still going to be the same problem with the West, because unless the nuclear saber rattling is still going to be something that terrifies the West, and so and we've already had the Budapest addendum. Agreement,
memorandum,
absolutely tore up and thrown in the fire.
Yeah.
You think Kiev's going to believe next time that the West is going to
protect
come to
them
their rescue?
Well, and again, I actually do if we can broom Trump during that time, but they're hoping that this what they want is they get out now. This is Trump's first year of his second term. If they get out now, they got 2 years to plan for the reattack. And if they do it in the beginning of Trump's final year during an election year again, and it's all out war, they just fucking go for it, and Trump's going, oh, god damn it, I don't know. Well, maybe they have a point, which is what he would fucking do as his brain turns to tapioca. And on top of that, it's an election year, and so it forces the Democrat or whoever's running to kind of relitigate whether or not we should be helping in this situation, and it feeds into it, and it would be a fait accompli as far as they're concerned. I think the most adorable thing Zelensky has said in the last month is Russians are sending negative signals on potential talks, meaning that they're just blazingly full of shit, and there's no way they could cop to all this. But we have a question from 250K Ohm for you that says, how did Ukraine get the Russian sock puppet out of office, and what did Russia do to try and wreck the election? And I'm assuming they mean the Ukrainian election at the time, in 2014.
Well,
and then since
then. They got in a guy by the name of Viktor Yanukovych, and they used really they used a lot of dirty tricks, not least of which at the advisement of Paul Manafort, by the way, who was helping Yanukovych get into power. And they did things like smear campaigns and honey traps and this micro kind of targeting of the electorate and all sorts of. Basically, they got this guy Viktor Yanukovych into power by really dubious means, and then Yanukovych promised as part of his campaign, because that's what the Ukrainians wanted, that he would sign a trade deal with the European Union, and at the 11th hour, after months of negotiations, to ratify this bill that would make a partnership with the European Union, a trade partnership. That's all it was, a trade partnership.
Yep.
It wasn't a path to membership to the EU. It wasn't NATO. It wasn't any of that. It was just, we're going to have better trade with the EU. And at the 11th hour, Putin came out and said, I will give you, I forget what the sum was. It was something extraordinary. It was like $100 billion or some crazy sum like that. And that will be more fortuitous to you, Ukraine, than a trade agreement with the EU. And Yanukovych, of course, being a Moscow sock puppet, said, yeah, fine, we're going to take the Moscow deal instead of the Brussels deal, the EU deal. And Ukrainians didn't like that. And they took to the streets. And that's what sparked the Maidan uprising. And what happened was they had a bunch of young people, activists, got together, a few thousand of them, I believe it was, and they marched down to the square, which is a central square in Kiev. It's right at the foot of the parliament. It's right at the foot of the presidential palace. It's the Times Square of Ukraine. And they were protesting, and the police beat the living crap out of them. And everybody saw this on Ukrainian television, and they said, "Oh, hell no!" And so you suddenly had this massive influx, and local protests were launched in major cities, but then you also had like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people flooding into the capital. And there was this long-standing battle, and for weeks they were in a stalemate. And then one day, after these running battles and all the rest of it, they put some snipers, the Ukrainian secret police.
Yanukovych's ICE.
Yeah, Yanukovych's thugs. Yanukovych's ICE, sure.
Yeah.
In positions in the and I've had people. I arrived the day this happened.
Yeah.
So I arrived from Moscow, where I'd been covering, oddly enough, the Sochi Olympics and then the uprising in Kiev. I was doing it all from Moscow for Al Jazeera. Anyhow, I fly from Moscow to Kiev on the day where this happens. And what happened was they put the government, Yanukovych, put snipers in buildings, and they killed over approximately 100 people.
Yeah.
Who are now referred to as the Heavenly 100. The day that happened, the legislative body, the parliament, got together and under constitutional law voted out the president.
Yeah.
So because of the violence on the streets and the uprising in the streets that led to the violence and the deaths, the Rada got together, the parliament got together and voted unanimously, he's got to go.
Yeah.
The sock puppet Yanukovych got to go.
Yeah. And so
Yanukovych,
he
he first
the
tries
route?
to fly out. He first tries to fly out on a fixed wing, and that because he can't get to the airport, I believe was the reason, or they didn't feel that the airport was safe for him. They flew him they drove him a couple of 100 kilometers to another airbase where they put him on a helicopter, and he flew into Russia, into exile, where he remains to this day. So that's how we got to where we are.
Yeah,
and then we had an interim president in the form of Petro Poroshenko, who was an oligarch who ran a chocolate. He was a chocolate magnate of all things. And then eventually we had another free and fair election in which Zelensky was elected, mainly because of his populism. He was a comedian, and he did a popular television show which kind of pointed out the inequalities and the problems within, and mocked it. And he became very, very popular. And he got some backing from other oligarchs. But you can't do anything in this country without backing of an oligarch, and certainly not at that time. So now we have Zelensky.
Right. And my favorite thing about Yanukovych was he basically flies from the capital to Donetsk the night they oust him, and lands at Donetsk, basically saying, "I'm just here for a presidential visit." And he tries to get into another plane to fly out of the country, and he's halted by guards because they know he's trying to flee. These basically border guards in Donetsk where he was. So they take him by car down south to where was it? From Kharkiv to Donetsk. No,
Kharkiv
to Donetsk.
North.
Yeah, he went up. They took a charter flight. He traveled to Kharkiv. That's where the presidential thing was. Then he goes to Donetsk. Then in Donetsk, he goes by helicopter to one further place, and they move him across the city. Basically, they gather his family together and they fly him to another airfield. And then then they drive to Berdyansk. Berdyansk, I think, is what it is, on the Sea of Azov, which is the part that faces on the side that faces Russia. And then they take him then they fly him from there to Crimea. And then he's taken by helicopter into Russia, where he's lived ever since, happily ever after, with clearly roommates with Assad and future bunkies with Donald Trump Jr. and Eric. And then there's one other person that and Snowden. They're all living together in one big fucking. I don't think Snowden's alive personally. I think Snowden's been dead for a while, but I think they've got a bot running his account online. When it does work, it seems to be just kind of you haven't seen him on camera. And he was sent, there was allegations he was sent to the front line and never came back. Which, I mean, hey, you buy your ticket and you ride the ride.
At the same time of all that, they storm, the Ukrainians storm Yanukovych's countryside palatial palace.
Yeah.
Just gaudy as hell. I mean, he even had a man-made lake put in where he had a little fake pirate ship.
Yeah.
Where he had his own kitchen and he would entertain people and stuff. Gaudy as hell. I mean, I look at the Oval now and I look at that thing and I go, eesh, the fact that they share the same taste.
Oh yeah. Holy shit.
Tell you a lot.
Yeah. Honest to God, I think I joked yesterday that I was like, I think Trump is putting all this gold in the White House so Putin will feel comfortable when he moves in. Because it looks like that, or fucking MBS, right?
It's all this gaudy nouveau riche crap, and I'm not a classist, so I'm not one to say. I say nouveau riche only in the context of the perceived meaning of that term. It is, you're trying too hard, buddy. You're trying
Yeah.
way too hard.
Yeah. No one's buying it.
But
Yeah.
anyhow, they storm his palace, and that's why. And that's when the Ukrainians find what is referred to as the Black Ledger. And in the Black Ledger is actually all the accounts of this sock puppet guy Yanukovych, in which a number of Trumpy Americans are listed, that
Yeah.
they've been giving money to these guys who have been rat fucking Ukrainian, to use Roger Stone's term, have been rat fucking Ukrainian elections, and they find it, and they turn it over to Interpol and all the rest of it, and I'm sure to the FBI as well, and we still. I mean, Manafort got it in the neck because he was working for foreign agents, but then of course he got pardoned. So again, going back to the whole point of like, there's too much here not to recognize that Trump is compromised.
Yeah.
And the frustrating thing about it is it's trying to convince people that no, this is really happening. This has happened. We have a guy in the commander in chief does not have America's interests first and foremost. So, yeah.
So, asking about what about the tariffs imposed on India today? That's indicative of, I think, of the punting. I think the Witkoff saying it'll be by the end of the year, and Trump saying he's going to put these tariffs on India. But Trump wants to sell more American oil to India because he's patching holes in the budget that he fucked up. We'll get to that in 1 second, though, and I want to hear your take on the Indian tariffs that he just put in place. He's been talking about them for a while. This is from the story about Manafort's daughter's texts were hacked and released. And Business Insider had seen a bunch of them, and this was Andrea and Jessica Manafort, and they in March of 2015. And she goes, she said he has no moral or legal compass. She goes, don't fool yourself. The money we have is blood money. You know he has killed people in Ukraine knowingly as a tactic to outrage the world and get focused on Ukraine. Remember when there were all those deaths taking place a while back, about a year ago, revolts and whatnot? Do you know whose strategy that was that caused that, to send those people out and get them slaughtered? That was her dad. That's the point. Like, both of them are estranged from him. They will not take money from him. Kudos to them for standing up for their mother in this case. In a series of texts to a friend in March 2015, Andrea appears to have said Ukraine was, quote, late in paying her father. He's cash poor right now, and now Ukraine is late in paying him. This is, again, partly because the money he was getting was from the previous administration. This is 2015, because there's still corruption there, but the people running it, Poroshenko, wasn't all in on this, right? And his work.
That was really.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
She goes, okay. He's a sick fucking tyrant, Andrea appears to have said to Bond about her rally. And we keep showing up and dancing for him. We keep showing up and eating the lobster. Nothing changes. They also talk about in other ones the traits about like how he abused their mother, and he would hire guys off. She had been injured in a car accident and was basic borderline invalid, and he would hire men off of Craigslist to fuck her while he watched, and just fucking hideous, just a fucking hideous human being. Paul Manafort is one of those people like Ghislaine Maxwell would read his backstory and go, ooh. Yeah. I mean, for real.
Yeah. That whole period of time, you got to understand, that whole period of time between 2014, when the Maidan uprising happened, and 2022, there was an active war in the east, out in Donbass, in Donetsk and Luhansk. There were, I mean, no joke, actual fighting, trench warfare. It's not what we see now because it was 2014. But there was active warfare going on. The Ukrainians were cycling through units, so they were very smart about that. I always give them props for that. Is they were cycling through units because they knew eventually that the Russians were really going to come, and they wanted each and every unit to have been battle tested, which I thought was a genius move. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless, when I would come here, when I would come to Kiev, and I spoke to Lev Parnas about this,
Mm-hmm.
between 2014 and 2022, there was this very weird atmosphere in Ukraine where, I mean, the Russian embassy was still open. You had
Mm-hmm.
Russian troops in Donetsk and Lugansk fighting Ukrainian troops in an active war, and the Russian embassy was still open in Kiev. There were
Right.
oligarchs, Russian oligarchs everywhere. There were spies everywhere of all different shades and colors, including Russian. That's
Mm-hmm.
why Lev Parnas and Giuliani come here, because
Yeah.
I mean, this place, I compare it to Casablanca in
Mm-hmm.
the movie Casablanca. You know
Mm-hmm.
that there are, everybody's got a game, everybody's got a rigged something. Everybody's doing something, and it's all in the
Mm-hmm.
shadows. And there's the Free French are here, to carry
Yeah.
the analogy. You know, the Free French are here, the Gestapo's here, the Americans are here, the Africans are here, and everybody's doing a little bit of something.
Right.
And that's what it was like here. I mean, that, for God's sakes, that's why we have the Burisma issue, is because Hunter Biden was nothing more than a loan guarantor.
Yeah.
Because he would be held
Yeah.
responsible because of his
Yeah,
name.
because he
Biden.
couldn't fuck off with their
Because
money.
that's all
Everybody
he
before
was.
had fucked off with their money.
Exactly.
And they literally,
Exactly.
the irony
Well, that
of all
was
the
the root.
corruption. Yeah, the irony that and I don't think the audience, you know, like not everybody has been along the ride with us this whole time. But yeah.
I'll lay it out a little bit.
Yeah.
The normal route was that Russians would come here, or Ukrainians would turn, for greed and corruption, would turn against their own country. They would take money from the Ukrainian resources and labor and all the rest of it, and all that money would be shipped either directly to Moscow or into Swiss bank accounts or whatever. It just, all capital was leaving Ukraine. It was being just stolen, straight up stolen. And so they go to Biden, among others. This was not an unusual practice. They go to Biden and they say, we know where to find you if you piss off with our money. So we want you to be basically, as I say, in essence, a loan guarantor. So when I hear all of these guys screeching about, like, what was Hunter Biden doing on the board of directors of a natural gas company? He didn't have to have any expertise in gas, or he was there to be somebody who would, if things went tits up or money suddenly disappeared, that the authorities could say, hey, what's up with that? You know?
Yeah.
And he could be held to account. And that is worthwhile to a Ukrainian company.
Yeah.
That's worth its weight in gold. So I don't like the dismissiveness of, like, what was he doing on the what a cushy job that he got. No, man, he was saying, if the money disappears, the name Biden will be good for it.
Yeah. They knew he would, and he couldn't. And I would argue it's even simpler than that, is that anybody else who's president, whose father wasn't a vice president or a president or something like that, could bug off with your fucking money and vanish. And that's what it happened again and again and again, especially a nation state. It's one thing if you fuck the mafia or even the Kremlin, but to some degree, any country, unless they've got the arms, if they've got the FBI or they've got Interpol linkage that they can trust to go after them, and that the money isn't blown or hidden or turned into something else in the interim so that they can never recover it, the politicians that are in place are the ones that are on the hook, but the money that's lost for the people is gone forever. And so Hunter Biden stood there as a value point. Look, we're going to sit here and watch, make sure this money goes where it's fucking supposed to, so you can afford to invest into Ukraine again and start helping them build their energy infrastructure so it can compete with Russia, and they can stand on their own, and Europe can buy their natural gas and that kind of stuff, because they lean towards Europe more than Russia does, certainly, and you don't have to go against your own interests buying Russian oil and all that stuff. That was the entire purpose. And so by building out the irony that the whole thing was just about building out the gas infrastructure, the liquid natural gas infrastructure in there, that's what Burisma was for. And by attacking Russia over it and putting Trump in and going after Hunter Biden and all this bullshit, what they created was not only a space where Ukraine's going to have its own natural gas energy sector in the lands that it keeps, even if it lost the entirety of the Donbass and Crimea, it will have all of Odessa's gas, pipeline areas, anything off the water, off the beach there that they would dig down in and find, and slant drill into Crimea better than Russia could do it because they'll have Western companies helping them. But all the other industries that have come out of this, because Ukraine is actually, they're now a defense supplier for fucking Europe, for drones and all this stuff. It forced them to advance and get their shit together faster than if Russia had just left them the fuck alone. They could have taken Russia like they control Hungary or Romania, like where they puppet them. Yep. They could have done that. But because Putin wanted it, free and clear, and he wants to build this fucking Russian Empire shit, he couldn't, he was too impatient to subvert the whole thing anymore.
Not to mention their agribusiness, which of course is one of their primary industries here.
Right.
Huge. The breadbasket of not only Europe but the Horn of Africa and the entire subcontinent. Not to mention, as you said, the defense industry, their IT is extraordinary here. No, look, they may lose some of their heavy industry and some of their mineral deposits and all the rest of it out in the Donbass, and that would not be good. It would not be good. But I contend it's survivable in terms of the economy. In terms of your strategic posture, I think it's very bad. But they will be, and you're right. As America withdraws from, I mean, if Trump has his way and America kind of withdraws from Europe, Ukraine is increasingly getting to a point where their defensive industry could. Now, having said that, we've said in the past, what if Russia gets to a place where it's in a good enough position where Putin can go back to his people and say, we found success. We took all of Donbass. Yeah. And we're positioned, we're right on the river. We have everything to the east of the Dnieper River. We won. It's a lie. Many Russians will recognize it as a lie. Many other Russians will accept it because the consequence of getting rid of Putin is going to be pretty bad for Russia because it's going to leave this massive power vacuum. But it will poise them for an attack later, 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road. Yeah. However, in the meantime, Ukraine is going to keep investing in its defense industry, and the rest of Europe is going to ratchet up. And they're already doing it, ratcheting up their defense spending. It's going to mean difficult times for Europe. A lot of the privileges and the advantages that people within the European Union kind of enjoyed because they weren't spending so much on the military, so they could have things like socialized medicine, and they could have social safety net and all the rest of it, and they could put into infrastructure and all those good things that everybody likes in Europe and about Europe. Those are going to take a hit. And we'll have to see how Europeans respond to that taking a hit. But I think there is consensus within Europe that, the Russia is a real honest-to-God threat. And I do not think, in fact, I'm sure, pardon me, that they will not let all of Ukraine fall. I mean, the French themselves have said, if there is a threat, if there is a direct threat to Kiev, we will put in our air force. Right. And we will impose a no-fly zone. What that might just be Macron kind of, posturing and kind of showing, the strength of the French military and all that, which they're very proud of, rightfully so. But I don't think they'll let Ukraine fall completely.
Yeah, I agree. Also, there was a question somebody had about what company was hit in Ukraine. The U.S. company that was hit. It's the company called Flex.
Flex, that's right.
Yeah, the company called Flex. It's in western Ukraine, by the way, and that's one of the things that stands out about it. It was not something that's like close to the Donbass or close over on that side.
Out in the Carpathian Mountains on the Romanian border.
Yeah, and so the missiles had to go past Kyiv to get there. It was part of their gigantic drone strike, and it was a very direct, focused hit on this place.
Oh yeah,
I think 2/3 or
100% on
three-quarters of the
purpose.
building burned up. The business is largely gone. There were a bunch of injured employees. It was at 5 o'clock in the morning. Mostly it was like, early staff, people who get there early, security, open the doors, that kind of stuff before the working staff, thank God, before they were there. But it was a direct strike on purpose and aware. And JD Vance as well, it's war. It's not anywhere near the fucking front lines. They struck it all the way across the goddamn country. They went out of their way to hit a U.S. company, the biggest, by the way, investment in Ukraine by a U.S. company. Flex's factory is the single biggest private, anyways, non-military, ad of funds in there. It's just private investment, U.S. investment in the place. They make appliances and consumer electronics. Fucking washing machines and shit.
Well, yeah. The Russians, of course, have said, "Oh no, that was a front," and they were actually producing,
Sure.
whatever electronics for warfare means. But of course, they're going to say that.
Sure.
Regardless, however, this is an American plant.
Yeah.
And if the Americans were producing, electronics under the guise of the factory, then we should know that.
Mm-hmm.
That should be something that should be made public. But first off, I don't think they were.
No.
But who's to say?
We're giving them overt help. We don't have to give them covert help in those places. There are other places they don't need to take over an appliance firm. It's unnecessary. Yeah. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And again,
you could have the same plant on the other side of the border in Romania.
Exactly.
Or in Poland, or
does that
Czech,
allow them?
or whatever.
Do they now get to bomb any place that's building stuff that's supporting Ukraine? Because that would give them permission to fucking nuke Arkansas, right?
It's
absurd, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and then the other part of it too is, let me see if I can bring this in so we can show it to you. I gotta turn this. Yeah, the reader. There we go. The issue with like the Institute for the Study of War made a very important point that is a sticking point when Trump is talking about, well, there's this point and there was this point where they can't. There's a couple of points, right? And he brings that shit up. And we do have a question about Project Zaluzhny, JD Vance trying to foment a takeover / coup. Probably, but it's not going to work. But this is the part that stuck out to me in this Institute for the Study of War thing. The Kremlin has repeatedly rejected the presence of troops from NATO countries as part of any security guarantee for Ukraine in recent weeks. Well, that's the only way it fucking happens. The United States or France or any of the other European countries, and what the fuck are we going to do? Like, have Egyptian troops in there? What are you talking about? What do you want, CSTO countries to provide them? The Russian NATO, right? Who? Like Dagestan troops? Chechnyans? Get the fuck out of here. Like, of course it's going to be NATO troops. Of course it is. If there are any troops at all, they're going to be from NATO countries. And by the way, if they're not, they're going to be from a country that's in the process of joining NATO. For it's just horseshit.
Yeah. And this whole to go back to the whole Operation Zaluzhny thing. Zaluzhny does not want to be president of this country. I do not believe.
Right.
I don't think he has political aspirations. He's a general. He's a military man. He was posted to the Court of St. James, representative from Ukraine to the Court of St. James, to give him a cushy little, and also I suspect to placate him a little bit because he was being dismissed. But he is not going to undermine Ukrainian democracy. If and when we get to an election period, and I'm wrong about his political aspirations, and he runs, well, we'll see. I also think if we get to a place where there are going to be Ukrainian elections, it means that hostilities have ended, which means I also think that, and again, this is just my impression of living here and having studied this place and heard the statements of Zelensky or other politicians, including Zelensky. I think Zelensky leaves.
Yeah.
I think he's
I
done.
I agree.
I think he's freaking done.
Holy
He is
shit.
fried.
Yeah.
He is fried, man.
Yeah.
I
And the
think
idea that
he is
yeah.
this yeah the idea that he would try and hold on to power
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
in a post-war election. I mean, he might justify it by saying, "I want to be a transitional president until we get stabilization," but I don't think so. I think he just says, "I've done my job. I defended the country in its time of need.
Yeah.
I
Have
am
an
going to go
election.
sit." He has said it before. He said it in, I think it was the interview with David Letterman,
Mm-hmm.
where he said, "No, when this is done, I'm going to go sit on the banks of the Black Sea and drink beer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my toes in the water, and I'm gonna spend time with my children and my wife, who I hardly ever see.
Right.
I'm gonna retire. I'm
Yeah.
gonna walk away." And I think he will. I really do think he will. And then we'll see what happens politically year after that. But this whole concept of we're going to find somebody to replace Zelensky is absolutely ridiculous. A few months ago, we had there were well, it wasn't just rumors; it was reports of them meeting with Petro Poroshenko. Them, I mean the Trump administration,
Mm-hmm.
meeting with Petro Poroshenko
Yep.
and with a woman by the name of Yulia Tymoshenko. Now, Yulia Tymoshenko was a former presidential candidate. She is ostensibly a democratic reformer, although her critics say that's not true, and that she's deeply corrupt and all the rest of it. But more importantly than anything else, when it comes to both Poroshenko and Tymoshenko, these are leaders of the past.
Mm-hmm.
These are leaders from Ukraine's pre 2022, full scale invasion period of time. That whole period from 1999, then up to 2014, and then that weird kind of Casablanca period, 2014 to 2022. That's
Yeah.
when Tymoshenko and Poroshenko were at the height of their political aspirations. And then Zelensky was elected in as a bit of a bomb throw into the corruption of the political system, because he did this whole thing of servant of the people and, kind of he was this comedian that kind of poked fun at the corruption and
Sure.
the power elite and all the rest of it. The fact that the Trump administration was reaching out to Tymoshenko and Poroshenko just exemplifies how much they have no idea what they're doing here.
Right.
I mean, Trump's entire team, and I include Rubio. The only person I think they have who's reasonably adept is Keith Kellogg. I don't think I think Rubio is overrated. When the people who say, "Oh, but for years and years Rubio spoke out against the despotism of Putin and he was very anti-Russian," well, yeah, but in a very jingoistic way. I don't think he got into the guts of the machine of just how awful the influence of Moscow on the West has been. I don't think he knows. I don't think he's, done the, gotten deep, kind of into the machinery of it all. I think he's a bit more jingoistic than that. Kellogg, I think, knows a little bit better understanding of the power plays that are happening. And what the territories are about, and why this person wants that, and who are these power factions in Russia and in Ukraine. And the rest of the team, Rubio included, haven't got a clue. The fact that they would reach out to Poroshenko and Tymoshenko shows exactly how much they don't understand. The fact that they would, reach out to Zelensky, Zelensky, first off, again, he's a general, not a politician. Yet that changes, military men can change into political beasts. But for now, the impression I get of Zelensky is he is somebody who is very much concerned about the future of his country, the best thing for the Ukrainian people. And as he was replaced by General Sirski, he took it on the chin and he went off to London, and
Yep.
he has been relatively quiet, except for a couple of small things. But I don't think, unless there's a major shift in the political landscape of Ukraine, that Zelensky wants to be a disruptor. It's the last thing I think he wants to be. I mean, again, look at the way he took it on the chin when he was replaced.
Right.
So again, it shows that they don't understand what's happening here. They absolutely got rid of Ambassador Bridget Brink, a fellow Michigander, running for representative. If you are in Michigan's first, go vote for Bridget Brink. That's Lansing, I believe. They got rid of her because she was saying to the administration, no, you can't. This is not the way to do this. This is not the way to do that. So they broomed her. I mean, she says she left, but I think they broomed her.
Sure.
And they broomed everybody who has a difference of opinion about what's happening here. So all they have left are these yes men and amateurs and parrots of first Putin and then back, Putin to some parrot and then some parrot back up to Trump.
Right.
It is the entire team negotiating this are made up of absolute amateurs and incompetence.
Right.
And this is another reason why I think that this statement by Witkoff that we're going to have a resolution
deal by the end of the year.
Forget about it. There's no way.
Yeah.
They don't have the
no, garbage.
That
I
team
agree.
does not have the means or the ability.
Yeah. So I by the way, we had another question about how to help animals and pets during it. I put the IFAW, the International Federation for Animal Welfare, link in the chat for people. They've been helping a lot in Ukraine. And then there was a question about like stray animals and rescues to donate to if you're aware of any. We're at the end of the show. I think the IFAW is a great way to go. They've been terrific with Ukraine, especially. And PETA has a hand on the ground, has a team there as well.
Yeah.
If you like PETA as well.
And if you go back, and let me bring up the episode number. There's a guy who goes into areas that are just about to be. Here it is. Episode. Oh, what number is that? 8. With a guy by the name of Neil Toker, or Neil Talk. I'm sorry, and he has an organization called Nordog. But if you go back to episode, as I say, episode 8 of On the Edge, that was the interview I did with him. It's nor-dog.org. Because it's a Norwegian organization, and it's frontline animal welfare in Ukraine. And Noel's a good guy, and I think that's an organization you can trust. So
Great.
The IFAW, of course, is always reliable, but if you want to do something that is on the ground local here, the link is in episode 8. So if you go back after you watch episode 61, go check out episode 8. 61 needs more views because I'm really still ticked off by the digital glitch that we had in uploading it. But it's a really good conversation about a lot of really important stuff. So I'd love to get the views up on that.
Great. Well, I just posted the link for your channel in the chat room, and also I agree, people. I'm not a PETA fan either, but some people already have a relationship and have been working with them for years. So if they do that, then they do have a team there. IFAW I think is slightly better, and then of course check out that video that Phil was mentioning, and that's also there's a link to his whole page there. Check out the most recent episode as well, and help us get the numbers up on that as far as viewing and all that and the like. And I appreciate you coming by, brother. It's nice to know you're up and around for the most part. And I will see you on Saturday. I hope. Fingers crossed.
You will.
Yes.
God willing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the sun and the sky don't fall. Excellent.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks so much, brother. Be well, and I'll see you next time.
All right, man.
All right. Bye.
All right. Take care.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Philip Ittner. Big round of applause for him and for you guys. And let's see. And for who else?
Oh boy.
Oh no. Oh yeah, you got you. Don't worry. I got you, Phil. We're good. Yeah. Oh, there we go. 1 second. And ta-da. There we go. You try not to sneeze on the actual show. So hold on 1 second. There we go. Yep. Goo. There you go. And then insofar as our ability to bring Fecus back to the show on the regular, I want to assure everyone as best that I can that the best is yet to come. Also, I would like to send a message out to everyone from our favorite Congresswoman. Hi, everybody. I'm Harriet Hageman. I'm Harriet Hageman. I like Donald Trump. Look at I'll see you later. I'm Harriet Hageman. You're so handsome, all of you. So sexy. I'm Harriet Hageman. So she'll be joining us. Yeah, you don't have to worry. This is going to be a fun afternoon show. That's all I'm saying. If everything keeps working, and I hope it does. So I've tried 6 times, and this is the only time it's actually worked. Okay, so, but until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you this afternoon. Hold on. Yeah, this will work. Oh, it changed the t-shirt. That's amazing. That's almost sad. All right, I'm out. I'll see you guys later this afternoon. 3 o'clock Pacific time. Come on now. Share the show, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thank you guys for all the support today.